The breakfast table in millions of American homes has become a showcase for industrial chemistry and deceptive marketing rather than a source of genuine nutrition. For decades, we have been conditioned to believe that a quick bowl of cereal, a glass of orange juice, and a slice of toasted bread constitute the gold standard of morning wellness. Yet when we examine the metabolic impact of these items, it becomes clear that we are starting our days with a physiological disaster. The average breakfast in the modern West is essentially a desert of refined carbohydrates and hidden sugars that sets the stage for insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, and the inevitable mid-morning energy crash. The primary offender in the breakfast aisle is the highly processed cereal. Brands have spent billions of dollars to convince parents that fortified grains are essential for a child's development. However, the process used to create these cereals, known as extrusion, is inherently destructive. Grains are mixed with water and pushed through a high-heat, high-pressure screw to create various shapes. This process is so violent that it denatures the proteins and destroys many of the natural vitamins present in the grain. To compensate, manufacturers spray a synthetic coat of vitamins and minerals back onto the product. This is why you see long lists of nutrients on the side of the box, but these synthetic isolates are often less bioavailable than the minerals found in whole foods. Furthermore, the base of these cereals is usually refined flour, which the body processes almost identically to table sugar. When you consume a bowl of processed flakes or puffed grains, your blood glucose levels spike rapidly. In response, the pancreas must secrete a massive amount of insulin to move that sugar out of the bloodstream and into the cells. Because the cereal lacks the structural fiber and healthy fats needed to slow down digestion, the blood sugar level crashes just as quickly as it rose. This leads to the dreaded 11 a.m. slump, where the brain begins signaling for another hit of quick energy, often leading to overeating at lunch. This cycle of spiking and crashing creates a state of oxidative stress in the body, which over time can damage the delicate lining of the blood vessels. The orange juice that typically accompanies this cereal is another deceptive health food. While it is derived from fruit, the commercial juicing process removes the essential fiber that acts as a metabolic buffer. Without fiber, the fructose in the juice hits the liver with extreme speed. The liver is the only organ that can process fructose in large amounts, and when it is overwhelmed, it begins converting that sugar into fat. This process, known as de novo lipogenesis, is a leading contributor to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. A glass of orange juice can contain as much sugar as a can of soda, and because it is liquid sugar, it provides almost zero satiety. The brain does not register liquid calories the same way it registers solid food, meaning you are adding 300 calories to your morning without feeling any more full. Even the bread or bagels we toast are often a far cry from the traditional loaves of our ancestors. Most commercial bread is made with refined wheat flour that has been stripped of its germ and bran. What remains is pure starch. To make this bread shelf-stable for weeks, manufacturers add dough conditioners like azotocarbonamide and preservatives like calcium propionate. Many of these additives are banned in other countries due to their potential links to respiratory issues or gut microbiome disruption. The gluten in modern dwarf wheat has also been modified to be more resilient for industrial farming, but it can be highly irritating to the gut lining of many individuals, even those who do not have celiac disease. When the gut lining becomes permeable, it allows undigested food particles and endotoxins to leak into the bloodstream, a condition often referred to as leaky gut. Another hidden danger in the modern breakfast is the use of industrial seed oils in margarines and spreads. Soybean oil, corn oil, and cottonseed oil are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which are pro-inflammatory when consumed in excess. The Western diet already has an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio that is far out of balance. Starting the day with a spread that is essentially a chemically deodorized and bleached vegetable oil adds to the systemic inflammation that drives heart disease and metabolic syndrome. These oils are highly unstable and can become oxidized during processing or cooking. Oxidized fats are particularly damaging to cellular membranes and can interfere with mitochondrial function, which is the very engine of our energy production. The coffee creamer is yet another industrial product masquerading as a dairy staple. Most commercial creamers are a mixture of water, sugar, and partially hydrogenated oils. Even the ones labeled as natural flavors use chemical extractions to mimic the taste of vanilla or hazelnut. By adding these to your morning coffee, you are essentially drinking a liquid chemical emulsion. The caffeine in the coffee provides a temporary stimulant effect by blocking adenosine receptors in the brain, but when combined with the sugar and poor quality fats from the creamer, it creates a jittery energy that masks the underlying fatigue of a poor night of sleep or a nutrient-deficient diet. We must also consider the role of yogurt in the breakfast disaster. While plain fermented yogurt is a legitimate health food, most of the varieties sold in supermarkets are more akin to pudding. They are loaded with fruit preparations that are mostly corn syrup and thickeners like modified food starch or carrageenan. Carrageenan is a seaweed derivative used to create a creamy mouthfeel, but it has been linked in several animal studies to intestinal inflammation and ulcerations. When you eat a low-fat strawberry yogurt, you are often consuming 20 grams of sugar in a single serving. The removal of the dairy fat is also a mistake because the fat is what contains the fat-soluble vitamins like A and D, and it helps you feel satisfied after the meal. The cumulative effect of this standard morning routine is a metabolic catastrophe. By the time the average person arrives at work, their insulin levels are sky-high, their liver is busy processing a flood of fructose, and their gut is dealing with an array of synthetic additives and inflammatory oils. This is not the fuel of a high-performing human being. It is the fuel of a system that is constantly in a state of repair and defense. True breakfast should be focused on high-quality proteins, healthy fats, and micronutrients that support brain function and long-term satiety. Shifting away from the industrial breakfast requires a return to whole foods. Eggs, for example, are an incredible source of choline, which is vital for brain health, and lutein, which supports vision. The cholesterol in eggs was once feared, but we now know that dietary cholesterol has a minimal impact on blood cholesterol for most people. The fats in the yolk are stable and provide the building blocks for hormones. When paired with a non-starchy vegetable or a small amount of healthy fat like avocado, eggs provide a steady stream of energy that can last for hours. This prevents the mid-morning crash and reduces the overall caloric intake for the rest of the day by regulating hunger hormones like ghrelin and leptin. Another superior option is a true whole grain porridge made from oats or buckwheat that has not been through the extrusion process. These grains retain their fiber, which slows down the conversion of starch to sugar. Adding a source of protein like hemp seeds or a scoop of grass-fed collagen can further blunt the glycemic response. The goal is to create a meal that looks like something your great-grandparents would recognize. If it comes in a brightly colored box with a cartoon character on it, it is almost certainly a laboratory product rather than a food product. We must also reevaluate our relationship with morning beverages. Instead of pasteurized juice that has been sitting in a tank for months, we should opt for water with lemon or high-quality green tea. Green tea contains L-theanine, an amino acid that works synergistically with caffeine to provide a calm, focused energy rather than the jagged spike of a sugary coffee drink. If you must have juice, it should be freshly pressed and include the pulp, or better yet be a green vegetable juice that keeps the sugar content low. The transition away from the unhealthy breakfast is difficult because the food industry has designed these products to be addictive. The combination of high sugar and low fiber triggers the dopamine reward system in the brain, making it hard to feel satisfied with simpler whole foods. However, after just a few days of eating a protein and fat-centric breakfast, most people notice a significant increase in mental clarity and a decrease in afternoon cravings. The body begins to regain its metabolic flexibility, learning to burn its own stored fat for fuel rather than relying on a constant drip of exogenous glucose. It is time to stop falling for the marketing labels that claim these products are heart-healthy or essential for energy. A cereal heart check mark can be bought with a fee, but true health cannot be purchased in a box. We must become our own advocates and read the ingredient lists with a critical eye.